They gave us scrap. That's what they called it. Rusted-out hulls, twisted beams, outdated reactors barely worth salvaging, leftover refuse from the galactic scrapyards of the Aurelian Trade Consortium. To them, it was garbage. To us, it was salvation. See, Earth wasn't invited to the stars. We were tolerated, like a stray animal lingering at the edge of civilization. The Council of Species deemed us unfit for proper technology transfers. They said we were too aggressive, too primitive. But they let us sift through the galactic trash heap. Let the apes play with junk, they snickered. They thought that would keep us contained. They thought wrong. It started on Titan Station, orbiting the rings of Saturn. A skeleton crew of engineers, veterans, and outcasts, a group no one cared to monitor. Among them was Commander Elena Voss, a former naval architect with a mind sharper than any council-approved AI. She looked at the derelict hulls, at the forgotten weapon casings, fractured armor plates, and cracked reactor cores, and she didn't see junk. She saw opportunity. For 2 years they worked in secret. Welders, hackers, ex-Marines, and displaced asteroid miners. They cannibalized every piece of tech they could find. They scoured abandoned mining rigs, raided forgotten outposts, bribed smugglers for restricted components, and jury-rigged systems that no council engineer would dare combine. The council's regulations didn't apply to scrap. There were no inspections for garbage, no eyes watching the trash collectors. And so, piece by piece, bolt by bolt, the Frankenstein of warships came together in the shadows. They called it the Vindicator. The Council called it impossible. A hybrid vessel, a predator stitched together from human ingenuity and the discarded remains of a dozen alien fleet. Its frame was Terran steel, reinforced with repurposed sarconite ablative plating. Its engines were a patchwork of human fusion drives and stolen Crixian gravitic stabilizers. Its shields? Rebuilt from cracked council prototypes deemed too unstable for use. Its primary weapon? The Council's forbidden Omega Lance, a planet-cracking rail accelerator that they'd abandoned in the testing phase after it melted 3 of their own ship. We salvaged the melted pieces. We figured out how to make it work. They never thought we could. They thought humans were primitives, too crude to grasp the delicate complexity of interstellar warfare. But there's nothing delicate about survival. And humans? We thrive in desperation. When the Vindicator finally left drydock, it wasn't with fanfare. It wasn't with council approval. It was with grim determination and the hum of forbidden power coursing through its veins. The Council didn't even know about it, until it tore through the blockade at Proxima Centauri. The blockade was meant to punish Earth for refusing Council tariffs, a show of force to remind the upstart species of its place. They sent 6 cruisers. The Vindicator annihilated them in 94 seconds. Council sensors recorded the engagement. The footage went viral across the galactic network within hours. The galaxy laughed at first. They called it a fluke, a lucky shot. Even a garbage ship can fire a gun, they joked. But when the Vindicator showed up at Vega Prime and disabled an entire fleet without taking a scratch, the laughter stopped. When it dismantled the Crixian dreadnought Bloodfang, a vessel 3 times its size, the Council convened emergency sessions. When it vaporized the pirate lords of the Drell Expanse, the underworld factions fell silent. By the time the Vindicator raised the orbital headquarters of the Aurelian Trade Consortium, the very same smug bureaucrats who gave us their junk, they weren't laughing anymore. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, how did the humans do it? The Council dispatched spies, sent covert teams, tried to steal schematics. But the Vindicator was built in secret by people they didn't control, in a place they ignored, from materials they discarded. It wasn't built by politicians or scientists following sterile blueprints. It was built by survivors, by soldiers, by dreamers who refused to die quietly. Every inch of its hull told the story of human defiance. Every scar on its frame was a lesson learned from centuries of being underestimated. The Council tried diplomacy next. They offered treaties, trade deals, access to approved technology. But we already had what we needed. Their scraps were superior to their politics. Then came the threats. They formed the Grand Armada, a fleet of 200 ships from every major species in the galaxy. The largest force assembled since the War of the Silent Stars. They broadcast their ultimatum across every frequency: surrender the Vindicator, dismantle its systems, and return to Earth or be eradicated. Commander Voss didn't reply. She just smiled. In orbit around the barren world of Eridani 3, the Vindicator waited. Alone. Outnumbered. Outgunned by conventional standards. But nothing about that ship was conventional. As the Armada closed in, Council commanders laughed at the lone warship standing in defiance. They didn't laugh for long. The Vindicator moved like no ship ever had. Its engines twisted space unnaturally, its hybrid systems letting it dance between firing arcs with impossible grace. Its shields absorbed Council particle beams and returned the energy in focused retaliatory bursts. Its Omega Lance? It fired only once, tearing through the flagship's celestial dominion and splitting it apart like a rotten fruit. The battlefield erupted into chaos. Council ships broke formation, scrambling to adjust to the impossible threat. The Vindicator wove between them like a specter, striking with surgical precision. Hulls crumpled. Engines died. Entire vessels were cleaved apart. By the end of the battle, only debris remained, scrap. The very thing they thought defined us. The Council didn't just lose a fleet that day. They lost their illusion of control. They realized that in their arrogance, they hadn't contained humanity, they had armed us. With every rusted panel, every discarded engine, every useless relic, they gave us the tools to build the most feared warship in the galaxy. Now, the Vindicator patrols the stars, a constant reminder of human defiance. It doesn't answer to the Council. It doesn't play by their rules. Wherever it's seen, empires hesitate. Pirates flee. Armadas think twice. And deep in the forgotten shipyards, among the rust and refuse, more hulls are being welded, more forbidden systems patched together. Because humans learned one undeniable truth. The galaxy's trash is humanity's treasure. And in our hands, even scrap becomes a weapon of legend. Ask ChatGPT.